The BumbleKast is for entertainment purposes only. The host's comments and opinions, and those of their guests, are wholly their own and do not represent that of any other entity. Content is provided as is, with no guarantees of accuracy or timeliness. Unauthorized redistribution or editing of the BumbleKast in whole or in part is strictly prohibited.
It's a BumbleKast Mini, brought to you by our standard questionnaires.
Batman 69 LOL starts us off. In an alternate timeline, following his departure from KALC, a mysterious new company extends an enticing offer to Dr. Frasier Crane, a significantly higher paying job centered around hosting a podcast. Given that it's the 90s, Frasier remains unfamiliar with the term, akin to radio, he's told. Unlike his previous radio show with multiple callers, this time it's an intimate one-on-one format, broadcasting not just to Seattle, but across the entire multiverse. Frasier initially considers this an exaggeration, only to realize it's not. His inaugural session, a blend of interview, therapy, and conversation, is with none other than the best salesman of 1997, SPAMTON G. SPAMTON, the big shot. How does this podcast go? What chaos ensues? Any ideas for dialogue between them?
It's an enticing offer, Niles, but why am I casting pods? What does that even mean?
It's true.
I don't see why you're so hung up, Frasier. You're always casting pearls before swine.
Honestly, Niles.
But yeah, the minute he realizes that he's talking to everything and everyone in existence, the ego will kick in.
Oh.
He's in it. He's in it to win it.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, you give him Spampton from the very beginning. Good Lord.
Yeah, throwing him right into the deep end.
The thing is, when you think of Spampton, you think of the end game, where he has gone full on eldritch horror. But when you first meet Spampton, he's just this tiny little sad sack. You kind of feel bad for him. You want to help, because he's trying. He's not good at it, but he's trying. And it's over time you realize that, oh no, this is a bad idea. So I imagine that the show would go in that format. You would have Spampton starting out at, a level 1 here on the Spampton meter. And Dr. Crane, being Dr. Crane, thinking he can handle this. He can guide this poor wayward soul, this individual with his lack of self-confidence and self-awareness. And the conversation keeps going, and Spampton gets more Spampton-y, and Frasier's growing increasingly disturbed, and he can't end the show because he can't fail the client on the very first call, the very first show. He's got to see this through. Until by the end of it, you realize the call is coming from inside the booth, and like Spampton is the chair he's sitting on somehow, and it ends in screaming.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I have been inspired to be a shrink, too. Let me get inside your head.
Oh, no. Don't let Spampton in. Please don't let him in. No. Throwing him right into the deep end. Frasier, that is. Oh, boy. EBM Mechanic has a question. Dear Ian, do you have any advice with coming up with characters that are loosely inspired by something else?
Take that something else and deconstruct it. What is it you like about that something? Is it the characterization? Is it their form of dialogue? Is it just their look, their aesthetic, the themes about them, what they're trying to achieve, how they interact with others? What is it about that thing that you like? And just do that again.
Well, there you go. Makes sense to me.
I don't want to make it too simple. You don't really just want to file off the serial number of something you like and say, I made this. That's not good. But see what it is about that element that you enjoy so much and recreate it. And within the context of whatever it is you're doing for yourself. And by the virtue of transplanting it into this new environment with new characters and new environments and elements, it will grow organically into its own thing.
Makes sense to me. All right, this one is from Franco A. Have you watched any Disney Channel cartoons recently? The modern ones, I mean. Or are you more a fan of the older ones?
I'm trying to think of what I saw last.
Probably DuckTales?
I think it was DuckTales.
new one?
'Cause I can't think of anything else that's come out since.
That's like the last and only one I've watched, really. But I had to. It was very good.
Like, I'm hard pressed to think of what they're producing right now, to be honest.
I don't know if they're producing anything. What about like Owl House? Did you watch Owl House?
Yeah, Owl House is good. I enjoyed Owl House a lot.
Amphibia? That's a recent
I haven't
one.
gotten to that yet. That's on the to-do list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I've only seen DuckTales. Trying to think if I've even seen any old Disney Channel cartoons. Like, what's an old Disney Channel cartoon? I guess would Kim Possible be an old Disney Channel cartoon at this point? I guess so.
Guess by now, yeah.
I guess it is. That was
Kim was solid.
Kim Possible is a pretty good show from when I saw it.
Yeah, the movie was kind of fun too.
I've seen a few episodes of it. It's pretty solid.
And the old Disney Afternoon, of course, Darkwing Duck, classic DuckTales.
I don't know if those count as Disney Channel. They're not Disney Channel shows. They're Disney Afternoon.
Like, they were ABC. Yeah,
they were before then. Yeah, they were. Well, they were syndicated. They weren't even ABC.
That's a terrifying thought.
Yeah. The chat keeps naming random shows I've never heard of.
And a lot of stuff that's kind of coming to mind is like, no, that was Nickelodeon. No, that was Nickelodeon. No, that was Cartoon Network. No, that was Nickelodeon.
Yeah. There's a lot of that too. Oh, well. Yeah, DuckTales for me. Fantastic show, though. Joseph R. has a question. Let's say Nintendo decides to pick a different developer for a new F-Zero game. Who would you guys want to develop it, and who would you want to compose the soundtrack?
Tealops.
I mean, he could do it.
I mean, I know that's the default answer for pretty much everything, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, on this
Has
show,
the man done a single bad soundtrack?
I'm just going to say that you should... I'm just going to say that there is a game in the works currently under development called Aero GPX. It's a great game. I have played the early versions, the demos and stuff that have been coming out, watching its development, and it is fantastic. It has a great art style. It's heavily inspired, especially by F-Zero X for the N64, but it has music by Myron. And Myron is fantastic, and yeah, so I'm going to say that if Nintendo wants someone to develop a new F-Zero game, just do that. Just Aero GPX. Yes, please.
Now, does it have a completely unapologetic hyper 90s narrative?
Oh, yes. And the characters the characters all each have their own backstory and unique art and everything. That part's inspired a bit more by F-Zero GX, because F-Zero X had unique character art for all of them, but it didn't have like any backstories or anything really.
Right. And GX went unapologetically into, here is the lore.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense and we don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right, I'm sold.
And the art style is very similar to... like classic F-Zero SNES. Like if you see the like the cover art on Steam, it's got very much like that sort of early 90s F-Zero Super Nintendo vibe going on there. So yeah, great.
It sounds like they cherry picked all the best elements out of F-Zero and just made it into one thing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. Highly recommend it. Yep. Alrighty. Nico C has a question. What do you think about the Command & Conquer series?
I have never played.
I have some experience with it. Mainly Red Alert 1 and 2.
Is it like a real-time strategy or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a RTS. And one of the big things I remember is spending an entire 14 hours playing one level.
Good God.
I don't know if it's because I was bad at the game or what, but yeah, it was 14 hours just in one stage. But I've always found Command & Conquer Red Alert's story interesting because it's an alternate history, like a branching timeline from, what we know. And it's actually pretty neat in that way. It's like, what if World War II pretty much never ended? Or what if instead of I'm trying to remember exactly what the story is. But yeah, it's basically like, what if World War II never ended? And basically, even after Germany was defeated, then it kept going. So it's an interesting story. All right. Nico C has a question, except we just did that one. Omega Blue has a question. Are you too familiar with the Borderlands franchise? If so, what are your opinions on it?
Passingly familiar. I played Borderlands 2 for a bit. Enjoyed the art style.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed the banter and the writing for the most part. Didn't play it online or in co-op because I couldn't justify the price of paying for an online session, and I don't have a friends list to link up with people. So, and I forget how far I got into the game, but it was like, okay, now they're sending remixed versions of the enemies, and I'm just grinding to get a bigger gun to shoot the same guys again. I'm done. I just got burned out on it.
It's a bit of that, yeah.
I'm sure it's way more fun with other people to, play with and riff with, and, you're not just being overwhelmed from all sides. But
yeah. I have pretty extensive experience with Borderlands, actually. I played through the first one a bit. I want to say, like, I don't know, 15, 20 hours into it or so. There wasn't really much there. There's not much going on in the first game. It's a very, very, there's not much lore and story. The story is pretty threadbare and not very interesting. So it didn't really hold my attention for very long. But Borderlands 2, I played the whole way through and played all his DLC. So that game got its hooks in me pretty good. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. But the pre-sequel, oh, oh, they really tried. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's because it's like so slow. Like the gravity is lower and everything is just slower, more plodding because of it. It's like, yeah, it's all right, but I don't know. And like Handsome Jack is like one of the more interesting villain characters, but being able to play as him, really not all that interesting. It's like, yeah, he's like a great standout character in Borderlands 2, but then you actually, get to play as him, and it's like, well, he's just kind of a dork. It's like, all right, it's not that great. Like, it's like the Jack Sparrow problem all over again. It's like he's great when he's playing off other people, but when you're just playing as him, it's like, yeah, all right. So, yeah, I have pretty extensive experience. I enjoyed it, but I've not played Borderlands 3. Don't know if I will. Maybe someday. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. But all right, Project SMA 64 has a question. Have any specific pieces of media inspired your writing style?
Oh, sure. And I'm going to forget many of them.
Oh, yes.
Off the top of my head, Jeff Smith's Bone, Stephen King's Dark Tower series, Deep Space Nine, Star Wars in general. We were talking about the old Disney afternoon, gargoyles, gummy bears. Man, the old 90s X-Men stuff. Too many authors and titles to narrow down there, and I picked them up piecemeal anyway. Shoot, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, there were scenes in there that I'm like, that's what I see in my head. This is how you render it. I am so happy to see something like this. Darn it, they beat me to the punch because they actually have budgets and teams of people to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? The Muppet Show.
Good. As it should. Muppet Show is great.
I think my sense of humor very much was influenced by The Muppet Show.
That makes sense. That tracks.
A lot of people at home going, oh, there we go. Okay.
Now it all makes sense. Here's one from Saving Throws. Gonna be honest, guys, I'm more of a Rayman guy at heart. What do you guys think of the fist-flinging thingamajig from the zany cosmic fantasy setting of the Glade of Dreams? Have you ever had any experience with the games? Kyle, what do you think about the music? And remember, the Rabbids are a separate franchise at this point.
You are very correct there.
Yes.
So they don't need to be mentioned at all.
Nope.
The one I played the most was Rayman 2. Played that with my brother on the N64, and rage quit multiple times only to come back because, darn it, that's a satisfying game to play, even if it is brutal. And the whimsy of the design is so alluring.
Mm.
And Rayman's just a cool guy. He's just he's a cool protagonist. I really wanted to play the two newer 2D platforms. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah,
Add
same.
it to the pile.
Origins and Legends, yeah. I just haven't gotten to them.
I wish I wish I could have experienced more by this point. But I do appreciate him even in my ignorance.
I've played a lot of the first game, and it's a lot of fun, but it's also like brutal, just in terms of difficulty. So, but as a fan of platformers, yeah, I'm super down with Rayman, and the music also great stuff. Not gonna say no to the music, especially the more recent games, the last two, Origins and Legends. Haven't played them, but I have dabbled a bit in their soundtracks, and they've got some really good stuff going on in there. And I like the musical levels. The musical levels have really great things going on just with the music and stuff too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually giving that a go at some point. Here's one from Soul Sparks. What do you guys think of the Shantae series? The gameplay and music are both fantastic. The characters are all very fun and well written. Rowdy Tops is my favorite personally. There's not much depth, but I think they're super fun in their simplicity and cartoonishness.
And you know what? That's fine. Not everything has to be super in-depth or technical or whatever.
I wouldn't want Shantae to be that way. Anyway.
It can just be fun, and that's fine.
And it does. It is fun.
Another series I haven't gotten into. It's on the pile. It's on the to-do list, but super cute art style across the titles and cute gimmick. And the music that I can think of, as you said, it's great. So appreciate it from afar. Wish I'd gotten into it more. Maybe one day I will.
I mean, the soundtracks are the standout, of course. The Vert is just Jake Kaufman. He's, a legend for a reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that main theme is just, so good. Such a great game. Played the first two. Really need to sit down and play the next two at some point. But yeah, I love Shantae. It's one of my personal indie favorites. If I'm gonna say an indie game, Shantae is definitely way up there. So definitely. My favorite character is Risky though. And our last one was from William C. If you adapted Star Fox into a comic book, would it reveal the planets that were never seen in the games?
Maybe. What I want to know is, where are they? If Fox is supposed to be from Papatoon and we've had how many games and it's not shown in the Lilat system, where is it?
Yeah.
The one little anime seemed to imply that Corneria is predominantly canine inhabited. So does that mean each world is species specific?
Interesting.
In which case, where does Falco come from? Where does Antros come from? Is Papatoon largely full of foxes? What does this mean? Is there any greater thought behind it? Probably not. But can there be something built on it, please? I mean, the level of interplanetary travel in Star Fox seems to be a given.
Yeah.
The Great Fox is just cruising through an entire solar system, and there's no talk of how long it's taking. So I'm just assuming that they can go pretty fast between planets, and that's a big deal. I mean, yeah, they had to build the warp gate to get to the Aperoid homeworld, but that seemed like it was in a distant star system. But does that mean Papatoon's in a nearby star system? Is interstellar travel possible but inconvenient? What does it mean?
So many questions.
And I knowing from my experience working on franchises like this, either nobody has thought to ask these questions because who cares? It's just funny animals in space. Or there is a long lost dusty document that details everything, all the minutia, and it's just never been investigated.
Yeah.
God, just, forget the Ark of the Covenant. Bring that one out of storage. I will be the top man to study it. Thank you very much.
Pull that one out of the vault, Nintendo. Give this man the Bible of Star Fox. Star Fox Bible. Yes, please. Yes, I want it. I want it all. I just want Star Fox, like, in general. Like, I want a good Star Fox game. Like, even just take Star Fox Zero and, like, you know, give it proper controls at least. If you're gonna do something, do something. Just, like, we're poking dead Nintendo franchises with sticks on this episode. Do something.
Well, what we're going to do is wrap up this BumbleKast Mini. If you don't want to go, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Go to all our websites.